Kelly at?
You know, same old. He's on his way though.
Okay.
All right, let's play this. So, fam, welcome to the village. Hit the intro.
Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
All right, welcome.
Welcome.
Oh man. All right, John. Give me a second. The man is
Yep.
outside.
All right.
All right. But yeah, I'm gonna play the tune again, folks. Be
All right.
back in a bit.
Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Give praises to Jehovah, from whom all blessing and knowledge will flow. Blessing and knowledge will flow. The Village Talk Show, dedicating to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life, helping each one of us in realizing our dream at any age, any point, starting from today, day. Success. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. Come on to learn and grow. Welcome to the Village Talk Show. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. We discuss what people need to know, empowering them to learn and grow. Success is not spoken, it is done. Success is done. Come on now. The Village Talk Show. Talk Show. The Village Talk Show.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us this week on The Village. I am Roger Daly. I am your host. I'm the host right here on the Village Radio Talk Show. So thank you so much for joining us today. We have a lot to talk about, and hopefully we can get some of these things in before our guest comes on this afternoon.
This evening, you mean this evening?
Yeah, this evening. Well, it's still afternoon in some countries. So when they come on, hey John, how you doing?
Hey, Mr. Daly, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
Also, shout out to other co-host, Dr. Bryant.
Yeah, she's not feeling too hot today.
Yeah, she's not feeling too hot.
So we'll just see what's going on. And thank you everyone for out there for joining us. We have so many topics, right? The big topic for the day is talking about, there are a lot of things to talk about, but the big one, our guest is on renal diseases, cancer. I mean, well, not just cancer, but renal diseases, dialysis. So if you know someone, call them in, have them come out and talk about that. If they have kidney issues, what's the function, what do we need to know, what are the signs. I think like Andre, John, shout out to Sophia, all right? So shout out to Sophia, we didn't do that, John. Out there, our esteemed producer. So before I even start off with the first topic, I wanted Andre, John, Andre,
Oh my gosh.
almost Dr. Andre. What?
I'm just sitting in my headphones, but and then you call my name, I know it's gonna be some
Dr. Sampson,
acknowledgement or
Andre
something like
had invited me to his exhibition over the weekend, right?
Oh, you did an exhibition? What kind of exhibition you did, Andre?
His artwork and his book. He has a book that he wrote, and so he was out there.
Andre, I didn't get an invite.
I put it in the chat. What are we talking about?
I
Put it in
ain't
the
see
chat and
nothing in no
everything.
chat.
And he didn't put it in the chat. I put it in the chat.
Oh.
I put it in the chat. It wasn't in the chat, but I don't think you knew. I don't think they knew until the last moment.
Nah,
when I took that picture, sent it in
son.
the chat.
Son. I posted it probably like what?
You posted it like
A week before.
but
Maybe it was in the family chat or
it wasn't the family chat.
Yeah, so
because we spoke about it. Because remember, my wife had a little get together for her birthday, and so you posted in the chat why you couldn't come. Because you said when I asked you why you're not coming, and you sent it to me. So I don't know if you sent it to the group.
Nah, I think also we were on a meeting one time, and I said it. You checked Sophie and Joan because they also heard it. I said it when we were on a meeting one time. So there's that.
No. Either way, I took a couple of pictures and put a couple of pictures in the chat. So hopefully, throughout the course of the show, he'll bring that up as well. So that's so it was very nice. It was the first time, John. I don't know if you heard of it, but I didn't. I knew of it, but I didn't know anything. But it's the African International Festival. It was down at we lost John. It was down at Commodore Barry Park, downtown. So me like a fool, he sent me the original address and he sent me to Restoration Plaza. So I'm sitting at Restoration Plaza, which is kind of funny. I met one of my former students' parent out there, and it happened to be head of security, so he called one of his security guys, and he showed me the way to go. But it was very good, John. They had music, they had food, they had art. He and his significant other's family, they had like was it homemade pocketbooks, T-shirts.
No, she had handmade bags, and they're made from like big yarn material, but unique. You couldn't find that nowhere else. So
Yeah, it was. I was glad I attended. Right, I was very glad I attended. It was really worth it, John, to attend. So which is it's right downtown Brooklyn at it's every year July 4th weekend. All right, every year July 4th weekend. So I was out there hanging out, chilling for a little bit. Ran into a couple of people who recognized me, and I recognized them. But some of them I hadn't seen in a couple of years, so it was great. And glad that he had the support. So how did it go? Was it good business? Was it worth it?
Yeah.
On all levels? What level would you say it was worth it on? What level would you say it's not worth it on?
I would say it was worth it on the levels. I mean, that was my second time there. My first time when I went, just walked around, see what's there and everything, and then this year was like, all right, then let's get a stall. Let's sell some stuff. So it definitely sell a lot of my books. Got some signatures. My signature signed. Some books signed, autograph. So got my a canvas sold, to beautiful canvas. So there's that.
You sold two of them?
Only one got sold, but people talk about that they wanted. Someone talked about that they wanted it, but they wanted like a poster version because the other one was a bit too large to carry. But you know,
okay,
as the
force
saying
yourself,
goes, if you really want it, you just get it and go.
The two part, Dr. Brown just complained that the volume's not good.
Yeah,
Right.
so that was good though.
So what did you do for 4th of July, John?
Not a daggone. It worked.
You worked on the 4th of July?
Yes, sir.
So I went out, did, after I left Andre, I had a few community things that I had to do, right? So I went by one place in Brooklyn on East 96. It was nice.
Flatbush.
Yeah, it's right by the library over there, by church,
Flatbush.
right? And it was good, but you know, we had some issues, right? And PD was they were there, like they covered the whole block, right? They covered
Right.
the whole block, and they were like, you know, people. They blocked off the block, which I didn't understand, right? I didn't understand why they blocked off the block, but they did. They blocked off the
Right.
block, and then so on both ends of the block, and they still turned off the music, right? So the music was turned off, and I had a conversation because they were upset. They were like, if they pull off the block, then why they still close down the music? They said the neighbors were complaining about too much music, but I'm like, in my mind, is if the police is there, I mean, the police is concerned about violence, right? Police is obviously concerned about that. But if you are visibly present, why are you still cut off the music? And they shut it off by 10 o'clock, and I thought they had a little bit longer. So,
Wow.
which obviously made the situation.
I wish they would come on my block and shut these people music down to play to 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, I mean, I had a party Saturday night. I lasted until like 1:30, 2 o'clock. But
You had a what?
I had a party. Yeah, I had a get together. You know, my wife's birthday. So
Andre,
Yeah, man.
you get an invite?
Yeah, I did. I wanted to
Oh, I
I
guess
wanted to make
it
it,
was. I guess it was in that elusive chat.
but
I ain't get a damn invite. All right.
John,
All right.
let me tell you something. I barely got an invite, and it was my wife. How about that?
That ain't got nothing to do with me not getting an invite. That's all I can say.
I just thought.
I ain't got nothing to say, man.
I just thought I'd tell you that it's not just you, right? That it's not just you who didn't get an invite. But it was good. It was good. It was a small gathering. You know, that's actually why you didn't get invite, John, because it was very
Oh
small.
yeah. Okay, I know you're gonna come with some bullshit.
I'm just telling you, it was small. It's like
I had to bleep that out.
no, it was very small. I think less than 50 people. And I had a remember now. I have 26 aunts. I have 26 cousins. I'm not even talking about second and third cousins. I mean 26 cousins.
26 what?
26 cousins, aunts, uncles, right? I mean Garcia has her grandmother had 11 children, so you figure that part out. So a lot of them,
Big
you know,
picnics, a whole bunch of picnics.
Yeah, a whole bunch of picnics. So just small family, and some of her friends. I wasn't even allowed to invite my friends.
Okay.
All right, I wasn't even allowed. So I was like, "What? Seriously? I can't bring my friends." She's like, "Nah, dog. You ain't got no friend to bring. Don't bring nobody. Don't give nobody no invite." I'm like, "All right, babe, it's your party.
Gotcha.
It's your party. What am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to fight her for a party, John? I know.
Tell Garcia and see how she living. No problem.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
Peace and blessings, Warren.
Yeah, you know, peace and blessings, Warren. Hey, everyone. So the big
What's up, Big D? What's up, Big Warren? What's up?
So the big Warren, the big hey David. Hey, David is joining us all the way from Jamaica. That's sweet. Thank you, Nars, for joining us. You know, so anyway, the big thing, man, it's not just Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith, man.
What is it?
is former presidential candidate Bill de Blasio and Charlene McRae, man.
What about it?
They want to see other people while still married, man.
So they want entanglement.
Yeah, they want some entanglements. So my question, my question out there, I don't know how many people are gonna respond because most people are gonna be like, nah, it ain't for me. But I want to know how many people out there are willing to say that my husband or my wife is allowed to see other people.
So it's funny because I was talking to T about it, and she said that they're trying to get in front of it. Because if they don't say something in public and one of them get caught on the road, everyone's like, oh, you cheated.
Yeah, but it's still cheating though. It's still infidelity.
If they have a different definition, I mean, But the other thing I said, I made a joke. I was
It ain't
I was
none
like,
of my business.
right? But I made a
None
joke.
of
I
my
was just
business.
like, he didn't want to be Bill, so he.
Oh yeah, but
he didn't want to be like Bill, so he said, "Let me say something about this first."
you know what's interesting to me? First of all, my wife wouldn't go for that, so I wouldn't pretend like that could happen. And I said my wife because I'm not going to say me because that's not going to happen on my end, right? She want to go, she goes. We're not sharing, right? There's no sharing, right? So the question becomes, what do you think, John? Do you think it's a good thing or a bad thing?
God bless them. Let them do what they do. That's it. None of my business.
Would you be willing to do that? Would you be willing to do that? To know that
God bless them. Would I be willing to do that? Yeah, no problem.
You'd be willing to have your wife go out and have friends?
No problem.
You're joking. Really?
Yeah, tell them God bless them.
But would you do it while the two of you together is what I'm asking.
I would say God bless them.
Hey,
That's the way I look at it. God bless them.
All right. No, but
You got to answer that way. I mean, everybody wants to do what they do.
But I'm saying I don't know. I'm saying in my relationship, I highly doubt that's something I would even come close to saying okay to. Like I don't even think I would even come close. Like I don't even think that it would be right. Oh,
Hey, Roger, you know what it is? People gonna do what they're gonna do to make them happy. So let them do what they do to make them happy. That's it. I ain't got time to worry about that.
So somebody just gave me something. Andrew just gave me something on Tinder. Is Bill de Blasio a catch? They even talk about Charlene. That's funny. New York City single ladies dish on whether they would date the handsome ex-mayor after his unorthodox split. He's 62 years old and Charlene is 68. Oh, she's older than him.
How old is Charlene?
Charlene is 68.
Wow, I didn't know she was 68.
I didn't realize she was 6 years older than him.
So I definitely can agree with John. That's their business. At the same time, when you put something out there in public, people are gonna comment on it. So, but God bless them. They do their thing and they carry on.
It's funny. It's interesting. Is he? What did Warren say here? Let me see what Warren said. Let's get to something more important, people.
Hey, hey, Warren, I agree with you 100%.
All right. Yeah. I'm shocked at the age difference the other way, right? But they've been together for 29 years, right? They've been married for 29 years. So if she's 68, what's that? They got married when she was 38. And she was in a previous lesbian relationship as well. So I'm wondering if those entanglements were happening while they were married, and now before they hit the fan, just a wonder. Today we're gonna have a lot. We have Serge Balmier's coming on, doctor of he's a renal doctor. He's coming on to talk about some of the renal issues that some of the plague, especially plague of Caribbean community. When I look at dialysis, John,
right?
I think partly because I live in a Caribbean community, Caribbean community. Roger, be careful. I'm not saying nothing more, Warren. I'm done. I'm done on that topic. But I'm just saying that.
Man, you're
Right?
never done.
But now I'm done. I'm just saying you never know. I mean, maybe like Andre said, maybe they want to come out in front before it became a Bill Clinton and it hit the news and it was unexpected. So if somebody sees him with somebody else, they might question. You might not question anymore.
I mean, in terms
Let
of,
me tell you something. Why are we worried about what other people think? He's no
but
longer made. He's not in the public eye. Who the hell cares? Why
You
would they
see,
even
it
care?
has to do with like depending on how you operate, people look at that and make conclusions regarding like integrity and all that stuff. Like, yeah, I know, that shouldn't matter, but the reality is that's the case. Like when Bill Clinton got caught doing his thing, people put in question so much of his his work as a president. So I would say on that front, it didn't matter to people. But in terms of like whatever you do in the confines of your home, that's your business.
so John, this is why I always disagree with you and Dr. Brian about certain issues. When you say who cares, people care, and the reason why people care is the
Why?
following.
You know what,
Wait,
Roger?
hold on.
People
Let me
care.
talk first. Let me
Okay,
finish
I'll tell
talk
you. Go
first.
ahead.
Let's finish talk first. Just like the insurrection, right? That happened January 6th in 2021. There are people, not people, everybody, model their lives and their beliefs and their behaviors after something or somebody else.
Go ahead.
And if you have a large influence, like Bill de Blasio still has an influence, right? I have the
Influence
influence.
on who?
It doesn't matter on whom. That doesn't matter. It matters that people, look, all of Andre and I are talking about it. Why? Because people do talk about it. You might not. Just like, like Dr. Barnes is not interested in
Well,
anything.
let me ask you a question. Why? What is the significance of again?
We got
What
to work
is
on.
the significance? You know what bugs me out about people, Roger?
Mhm.
You want to know about them, but people don't want other people to know about their business and what's going on in their house.
Because,
I want to know what's
So they
going on
don't
in the
think of
house
it.
across the street, but I don't want nobody to know what's going on in my house.
yeah, but John, you gotta say something very important. Once you're public, you're public.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people,
So
I'm
what does
saying,
it
I'm
have
saying
to?
again,
Why
what
is
I'm
that,
saying again
Roger?
is
Roger, why is that newsworthy for us?
because it's might not be for us, but it's 100% newsworthy for a lot of
You know
people.
what's newsworthy,
That's why
Roger?
I made
The two.
how many.
You know what's
Here's a
newsworthy?
question. Here's
What's
a question.
newsworthy is the two firefighters who got killed on that cargo ship in Newark. That's
Not only that,
newsworthy.
we're gonna get to all of that because But what I'm saying to you is, at the end of the day, ask yourself this question: why do these things like these hit all? I got at least five news alert talking about this situation,
It's drama too.
Because
right?
it's
So
summertime and the press
I
ain't got
think
nothing else
Warren
to write
says it
about.
right that it's a reality show. Reality show make more money than news, than National Geographic, and all those things. Because people want to know that even though my doors are closed, my windows are closed, I have shades on my window, that people are still doing the same damn thing
So I can
outside.
peep through. I can peep through the shades. Peep through the shades.
Yeah,
But I don't want nobody look.
but
I
now
don't
the
want nobody looking
news,
through my shades.
yeah, well, the news made it their shade, right? But anyway,
It's
I mean,
drama though. It's drama, and I mean, Warren said that giving it airplay, but if think about it, if Obama and Michelle came out, right? Michelle Obama and Barack Obama came out and say something like that, a lot of people would have been jumping on it too, and would be questioning. It would be like a cognitive dissonance. People would think that Michelle and Barack
Obama,
would be doing
De
something.
Blasio's not on the level of Obama.
I know, but what I'm saying
in New
though,
York he is. In New York City he is.
but what
Not
I'm
in America.
what I'm saying,
For who?
if
For
they
who?
were
For you,
supposed to come out
maybe.
with something
Not for
like that,
me.
He's on that level in New York City because he was
For
delayed.
who? For who?
And
For who?
remember, John,
Shit, my man couldn't even get that on the presidential ballot. My man
I
had to
said
bow out to
New
even run for
York. I
Congress.
said
So
New
come
York.
on, man.
I said New York City.
Come on, brother.
so
Yo,
listen,
he could not even get on the ballot for Congress after he was mayor. So come on.
Right? He could have gotten on the ballot, but I think he decided not to run.
Why he
Um,
didn't?
that's
Why
right?
didn't he,
But
Roderick?
let's
Why he
finish it up.
decided not to run?
because it wasn't in his best interest. I guess maybe this was happening and it would have come out. Maybe. I don't know.
Man.
I don't know the answer, dog, and I'm not gonna pretend like I do. I'm just saying it's newsworthy, but we gotta move on. We gotta move on.
Let's move the hell on.
Let's talk about two primary winners in New York City. Some big upsets. One of them is a big upset. One of them is wow. This is awesome to hear this news. One of them is that. So the big upset came from one of our former guests, Chris Banks, beating out Charles Barron. Yeah, he beat Charles Barron, who has been in office for 22 years, right? In some shape or form, he was in office for 22 years, and this is his last term. Well, unless he runs on a different platform and wins the general election in November. But Chris Banks, at this present moment, is going to be the next city council person from East New York, part of East Flatbush, Brownsville, and Ocean Hill, Brooklyn. We're gonna get him on. I think we're gonna get him on. I think next week or the week after. He's doing some tours, and the second person is Yusuf Salam. Yusuf, for those of you who don't know who he is, Yusuf was one of the Central Park Five that was exonerated a couple of years ago, and he won his primary in what district? Central Harlem. So he came back to Central Harlem in Manhattan, and then he won the primaries up there, John. So that to me is what they call it, blind justice, or what do you call it? What kind of justice? There's a term for the type of justice that it is. He is not. Don't be disrespectful. Don't. I don't know where that came from. Maybe something. That's not what you are here for. For real. I missed Warren. I missed that comment. I don't know what that's about.
Regarding Chris Banks.
Chris Banks. No, maybe it was about the Warren. Warren, you can go ahead and explain. I don't know. He's not. Who is not? Don't be disrespectful. Who's not what?
Hey fellas, I gotta bow out for a minute. I gotta go to a wake, so I'll call back and say about an hour.
All right, so you're gonna have me here. So Warren, I'm gonna need you. Maybe you should come on here, Warren.
Yes, Warren, please do. He needs all the help he can get.
Yeah, I do.
Andres.
All
right.
I get it. He's not on the same level as Barack Obama. I think that's what he's talking about. And yeah, I think that's what it is. But he's not on the national or international level. Not even close.
I guess that was towards John.
No, that was towards me.
No,
I said it.
No. John said that de Blasio is not on the same level as Obama.
Right, but I said he is when he comes to New York City.
Oh, and he said don't be disrespectful because he's not.
Okay, got you. So there you go. Well, no, we're definitely not comparing the two for a number of reasons. I'm just saying the popularity. So people fail to realize his second term for mayor, he ran pretty much unopposed. Right? He ran pretty much unopposed for mayor, his second term. Right? And he the first term actually too, he was pretty much unopposed as well. So he did his thing. But anyway, let's. So what do you guys think? Yusuf Salam becoming what is it called? I don't want the expression. Somebody could help me with the expression out there, where he was in prison for over 20 years. They were in prison, and finally they were exonerated, given a few $1 million. I think it was like $6 million each for wrongful imprisonment. And then they spent 7 years in prison before DNA evidence emerged linking someone else to the crime. I think for some reason they spent longer than 7 years. They got out.
It was only 7 years?
That's what it says here, but I think it was longer. I think more like 17. It was 89.
Yeah.
And so see how long they stayed in jail, because I know they didn't get out in like 1996.
While Saddam spent 6.8 years in prison,
Right.
the Ross 84 spent 15 years.
Oh,
So I guess
he got out early.
Yeah.
All right. So that's what I'm saying. They spent what, 14 years?
15.
15. Right.
Also wrongfully convicted of, raping, kidnapping, murdering.
All right. So that's that. Okay. So he got out early. So think about that, and he now moved on.
But further on, Aria says, just as Salam was freed by DNA testing after 15 years in prison, so too were the Ross 84. I have to look deeper in that.
Yeah, look, he moved to Georgia, and then he came back to New York City. He came back just for the campaign.
6 years, 8 months. That's what it says.
Yeah, on that CD it says nearly 7 years. So that's very cool that he came back. He won the primaries. I want to know who he went up against. If it was an incumbent, did he win an open seat or a new? Because sometimes your city council persons will change in New York City, and I think around the world after every 0 year they do the census, and then every year or two after, when you run for office, they redo the line. So that sometimes, like in Brooklyn, they drew a line that was primarily Asian, and that in the I think it's the 43rd district, where this young lady became the first Asian representative of that community. But they built the community to be Asian.
Yeah, Miss Dickens.
Inez Dickens.
Yeah.
Right. So he beat Inez.
Yeah, she had 36%.
Inez Dickens.
Yeah, that's what it says right here. It says New York City Board election and tabulation rank choice on Wednesday, and the new rank choice tabulation now shows Mr. Salam with almost 64% of the vote. Miss Dickens 36%.
I'm saying this is Inez, this person's name, Inez, because Inez Dickens has been in office for donkey years. So that's what I'm saying. If it's her up there in the Bronx, in Harlem,
Crazy, right?
yeah, she's a Charles Barron. She's 100% of Charles Barron. I mean, in terms of how long they've been in office. Because I've known Inez Dickens from my years at CEJ, which is 2003, 2002. That's a long time. So congratulations to both of them. And look, they will be representing and looking forward to working with them in come January 1st. So they have about 6 or 7 months to get their acts together to become the newly designed.
Yeah, Inez Dickens.
Yeah, she's look her up. Look, she has been in office for a number of years.
And he beat 2 other people, Al Taylor and Kristen Richardson.
Al Taylor.
Yeah.
Al Taylor is a assembly person. He wanted to become city council. Yeah, look up Al Taylor for me. Al Taylor, I believe, is the assembly person up here. So that was very, very interesting. Chris Banks, who's of West Indian descent, came to the United States. His family came to the United States. Hey Michelle, how you doing? Right. They came to the United States from Trinidad, and to be a first generation American to make it and become city council. A lot of party, a lot of fete, baga fete at the city hall with all our Haitian council members, the Jamaican council members, and now the Trini. Oh boy, a lot of fete. So no, Monique's assembly. but I was going to say she's Asian. But so that's nice. So the big issue, some other issues that I want, but a couple of things I want to talk about. And I'm going to need your help out there until our guests come. So one thing I want to talk about is Clarence Thomas. We touched on it last week, but I don't know that we actually finished up some of what we're saying. So Andre, Clarence Thomas, who is, for those of you who don't know, he is the Supreme Court Justice nominated by Ronald Reagan in 1987.
Still up here, huh?
He was born, I think, 1942. Right, so I think he's 74 years old. And
1948.
1948. So at around a little bit below 40, he was nominated to become Supreme Court judge. Right, and when he became Supreme Court judge in 1988, I think it was nominated 87, became 88, his last year. He got to Yale through affirmative action. Affirmative action doesn't mean that people get confused with affirmative action. I probably got to college on affirmative action because I went to one of the best schools in the country for undergrad in 91. The fact of the matter is that affirmative action says that you have to look at qualified black candidates or any other race. In my case, I'm black. In Clarence Thomas' case, he's black, so I've said black candidates. And sometimes males. And in certain cases, when you look at the sciences, females. Black females are not in the sciences. So you look to see if there's somebody who's qualified. So I'm going to say, I'm going to find 5 or 6 black women who want to be doctors and place them in my school. It does mean that that person has to fit all of the qualifications. Good SAT scores, good grades, good whatever. So you have to qualify to be there. So here's my question that I want to put out there. My question to everybody listening. What's the difference, right? What's the difference between affirmative action and white privilege? What's the difference? So if I go to Yale because my father went to Yale and my grandfather went to Yale and their great-grandfather went to Yale, they give a large amount of endowment to the school and I get in.
Legacy admission.
Right? What the hell is the difference?
One the policy or you put in place and everything that you can see.
Yeah, when you apply to a college, they ask you, did any family member attend the school?
Yeah.
And it bumps you in another category if you're qualified. Right? Period. So what is the difference? If I'm using my name and I'm using my color, both of us, some of them, George Bush Sr. went to Yale and he was dumb as nail. But he got into Yale because of legacy. His father was George Bush Sr. George Bush Jr. went to Yale. Right? His father was George Bush Sr., who was head of the CIA or whatever he was. Right? And he went to school in the 80s when his father, he went to school 40 years ago. His father was vice president of the United States.
So Warren said it too, purely on legacy and money.
Yes.
That's what it is.
So if you're going to school on what Warren stated, purely legacy and money, and I'm qualified, but because I don't have the money, you're not going to let me through. So you're going to continue to keep me back right? So remember now, there's a certain amount of economic displacement of people of color, right? That they just don't have it. It's not that we're just not smart, but we don't have the economics based upon a legacy, right, of displacement and lack of preparation. So back in the 70s and 80s and 90s and even early 2000s, you hear people go, I am the first to attend college. In my house, in my family, Andre, before you got here, in my I have 26, 25 cousins, right? First cousins. I don't know all of them, right? I don't know all of them. But prior to me, nobody else in my family had a college education. Prior to me, that my cousins had a full 4-year college education. It wasn't that nobody, you know, our family, you're in the same family, right? We're not stupid, right? We're not stupid. But I was the first one, and then after me, we had a few others who went on to maybe get 2 years of college and eventually get 4 years. I'm talking about first cousins, right? In my grandmother's side, 2 people got a college education. All of my family, they're very smart, right? Very smart, but so they didn't know how to work the system. Neither did my mother. My mother just said, do what your guidance counselor said. That's what she said. That's exactly what my mother said. Do what the guidance counselor said. Mr. Michael Brackfeld, right? He looked out for me and got me the scholarship to go to high school. And then from high school, the rest of it is history. What is the point of going against something that you use that you see as beneficial? What's the point?
It's quite the guy, man.
And his bio is talking about he's fighting against racism. This is a way to fight racism and by the way, affirmative action doesn't get all that many people in. Right? So if I say to you, if you say to me I got in an affirmative action, and I say to you, you got in on legacy, what the hell? I don't get it. Somebody explain to me.
Privilege was already there for the person with a legacy. We know how to try and create a level playing field with affirmative action. So that's essentially what it is. So affirmative action gave us an opportunity to be able to get the college education as we should. So
you know, I am beyond impressed with people who, when I was in college, we had a meeting. I never forget this. Steve Olson, who is now an attorney, very good attorney in the United States, and another Gary Jenkins. I think both of them you can look up while I'm calling the meetings. Gary Jenkins and Steve Olson got called out that they're affirmative action cases. And we had at Harvard, we have things called plenary to discuss this. To me, no. No. Somebody asked me something about the guest. Right? No. It's the person who's asking me about the guest. That's why somebody texted me.
You send the bio thing?
No. Yeah, they got it. So the meeting, which draw pretty much the entire campus. Harvard is what they call a Quaker school, which is what I love. And they brought in the meeting, the conversation, and people were like yelling and carrying on. And I was a freshman or sophomore at the time, and I remember when it happened. And you gotta feel out of place when people start saying that, right? Because I knew academically I belonged there, right? Steve knew it, Gary knew it, As a matter of fact, Gary now sits on the board of management at Harvard. I don't know if he's still there, but he was there a few years ago. You find him?
It's Gary's.
Gary, like Gary. Right? And it's to me it's what's up. So just a thought that people need to think about when you talk about what's the point of affirmative action, because they're always, remember like a few years ago about 10 people or so got arrested because they were paying. These superstars were paying money.
I remember seeing that.
Right, to get into these schools where as black folks you earn the merit to get there, but you might not have the money.
Yeah.
Right, and so the government gives financial aid. So if you get financial aid, then you shouldn't be concerned about paying. Right. Speaking of paying, student loans, right? The student loans were blocked again by Clarence Thomas and the right wing.
I mean, to promise something that you don't necessarily have that power yet to grant it, I kind of find it laughable still, though, because I mean, and Biden's still pushing. He's pushing, which is
so it's you make okay. So you're making it easy for people to understand. There are three branches of government: the executive, the House, and the judiciary. Right? So if 2 out of 3 agrees, right? If 2 out of 3 agrees, then the third is up. So generally, the Supreme Court has the biggest ruling, right? Has the biggest ruling on lawfulness. Right. So to me, it's very important that you go through all of the channels. And why it's also important is that if the President of the United States makes a ruling and he does an executive order like what he's going to do, it only lasts through your term. If he pushed the bill, it goes to Congress, Congress passes the bill. Right? Congress passes the bill, then it becomes a law of the land. So that's what people need to understand. So when he made whatever he pushed through and Congress said no, they said it's unconstitutional. So now he has to go back and now he has to do an executive order. So that's why he says shortly after ruling Biden announced a 12 months, because 12 months he's done. Right? On-ramp transition period.
People be ready. And don't sit there waiting.
Yeah, so after 12 months, you're done, right?
And you know that they say that once this period where people don't have to pay is over, the economic toll on people is gonna be so heavy. Especially in this economic time that we are going through. So, I mean, the one thing I can say for people is just be prepared. Be prepared. You don't have to budget wisely.
But it's more than budget wisely. You also have to look at what the reprieve looks like over the next 12 months and see, take advantage of it, right? Take advantage of it so that you can pay some of the bills, right? Because those bills can pile up, like you're saying. So whatever it says, if you have a student loan, make sure, right? Make sure that you're paying your bills. Hey, Auntie Maureen, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. I can't wait to see you, Auntie Maureen, so I can have some nice. She makes a great lobster and seafood plate.
For real?
Oh yeah, man.
She gonna verse Crumpy then.
Huh?
I said she and Crumpy then might be
Hers
versus.
is better than Crumpy's.
Oh man,
Hers is much better than Crumpy's.
Crumpy over here in this man. You got competition.
That competition is just true. She makes her lobster. She makes a lobster crab legs and lobster crab legs and shrimp, and she put them together in a pot.
I'm gonna have to taste some of that.
Listen, my son Grayson, he eats lobster now because he eats lobster. He's like, I want lobster tail. All right, I'm crab. Don't know how to eat a crab yet. So, but anyway, so that's
Commercial.
right. Oh, we have a commercial coming up.
No.
Okay, go ahead. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to do by the Single Parent University. If you know somebody or you yourself is a single parent, you contact the Single Parent University. Open admission and course curriculum, personal development, mindful parenting, support seminar, financial management, nutrition, and wellness. The program benefits includes free session childcare, transportation, social support hub, resume and cover letter writing, career exploration, and legal assistance. Contact them at 646-779-6767 or text SBU 7144. All right, again, text 671441 or 779-646. Call 646-779-6767. Oh, and good news. Grace Family Adult Social Daycare is here. So starting next week, they will be opening the doors at 1330 Utica Avenue to come out during the day and start looking at opportunities, see what's happening. We have open house that will happen all week. People come out, find out what's happening during the week. Register at gracefamilyadult@gmail.com or gracefamilyasdcare.com. So again, do reach out, call 646-504-5778, 646-504-5778. If you have Medicaid, it's accepted. The program is free once you have Medicaid. If you don't have Medicaid and you're up, if you are able to qualify for Medicaid, then they'll work on it to ensure that you get breakfast, you get lunch, and the food is primarily sponsored by Golden Crust, right? And so do come out, get some free food, and you can play games, get your hair done, did. You have salon services and for ladies and gents get groomed. I'm gonna try to get myself groomed for my bald head. All right, so let's try to figure that out.
You want to do the domino too?
For one time, all right, shoot. So also August 11th through the 13th, there will be there are a couple of announcements actually. August 11th through the 13th, there will be a domino tournament. If you're interested, please contact send an email to info@worlddominoes.com, info@worlddominoes.com, or go to the website at www.worlddominoes.com. Dominoes is spelled with the ES, the British way. And you can win some money, some money or certificates or crests prizes. So register, call Rudy, 646-504-5778, or Sniper at 929-413-0433, Tony at 917, what's that, 82300, 823-5273, or Dawn in Connecticut, 703-5274. That's the other number, 917-823-5274, or Dawn at 203-545-0764. Come play and bring your games. Friday is a fish fry cookout, so you can eat with DJ Byron, DJ Chocolate, DJ Jazz Boy, and then Saturday is random, and then Sunday is mental peers. So Friday is the team, so bring your team. All right, so looking forward to hearing from each of you that weekend. All right, that's it for commercials. All right, so getting back to the show, Yeah, a Brooklyn man drove to Pennsylvania to burn and dispose of bodies. So two men from Brooklyn drove to Chester County in Pennsylvania. That's right outside. For those of you who don't know, that's right outside of PA. That's along 76, right? To dispose and burn the body of a man they allegedly shot to death. An investigation discovered a 32-year-old Rolando Blanco Duarte had been shot and killed on June 18 while inside an apartment building in Borough Park, Brooklyn. Blanco Duarte's killing had gone unnoticed until July 2nd when the Chester Police Department in Pennsylvania responded to a 911 call about the body being discovered. Until July 4th, Luis Maraquin and Serna 27 and Rodolfo Lopez Turner were both arrested and charged with murder for his death. During the investigation, the video was used to track the series of events that transpired. NYPD first took Lopez into custody and determined that Maraquin Serna was also involved and arrested him too. Lopez and Maraquin allegedly shot Duarte twice in the back after a bar dispute that they felt disrespected in a verbal exchange. And they felt disrespected in a verbal exchange. After alleged shooting Blanco Duarte, the two men drove to Pennsylvania to dispose of the body in a wooded area and burned his remains. That is very sad. Wow. And an 18-year-old girl, what's going on in that world, man? 18-year-old girl from South Carolina, Kirsten Williamson, went missing last week while on a date with someone she met online.
Careful
Williamson's body was found today on the side of a road a few miles away from suspect John Newton's house. So Joshua Newton, correction, family reported her missing after not having contact for 2 days. Williamson had been talking to a man online for a month and planned to meet in person for the first time. Newton and his living girlfriend Victoria were both arrested. Police believe Newton killed Williamson at his home and his girlfriend helped him hide the body. That is crazy.
The online dating seems crazy, man. It's like, gotta be careful. I mean, it's a new normal. Gotta be careful. Meet in public spaces, meet where you can be able to observe the person in action. But even so, that don't really tell you much. So I mean, just have to try best to be careful.
It's beyond that, right? It's beyond. I want to say this. I know a lot of people said they met their significant other online. So, it's like when I hear people say, "Don't be a police officer, don't be a firefighter, don't date online." When I tell people, being a police officer is one of the safest jobs that you can have above any other.
Really?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, let me ask you a question. How many times have you ever in your life seen a shootout?
I've been privileged not to really
Right.
see.
In your life, how many times have you seen an arrest?
Not a lot of times, but I've seen a good amount
Okay.
come from track.
How many of those arrests have you seen where the criminal actually took out a gun and started firing at the police?
I can't recall that.
All right, zero, right? So I'm not saying that they don't die on the force, like they don't get killed, unfortunately, because they put themselves in a dangerous situation. How many times have you seen or heard of a teacher getting disrespected and beat up by a student?
I mean, I'm a teacher, so I feel like it's a bias.
No, I'm asking, but how many times have you seen it?
So many times I
All
can't
right.
call.
So think about that. How many people actually walk up to a police officer and slap a police officer?
No, you wouldn't dare. Because I mean, what you've seen and what you've heard, but you have some people who have the dolls.
Yes, I'm not saying that you will not get hurt as a police officer. That's not my point of what I'm saying, because you can't. So when you think about it, you think about how many jobs that you can get. Like if you work in a hospital, I've seen more people in the hospital get hurt or killed, the nurses, the doctors, by the patients, than I've seen police officers actually hurt on the job.
By the patients, as in like them moving the patients.
Not just moving the patients. That's one. I mean, that's different. Talk about they getting stabbed with a needle, the patient punching them, hurting them. Right? That happens far more than you think. Right? So it is easy to say that these jobs, like they don't sound like people are just enamored by the fact that you see TV cops and robbers and they're chasing the criminal and homicide and drug and they see all of that because it does happen. But I know more retired police officers than I know dead police officers.
I mean, I would also say that you probably would need a police officer on here and probably have to look at the statistics because we're only speaking from our individual experience.
No, I don't. I'm not speaking. I'm talking about statistically speaking.
Oh.
Most police, almost every case that a police officer gets killed or hurt is on television. Almost every case. No, you would Google how many police officers got killed on the job last year in the United States. You can Google that. That's what you look at.
Top 25 dangerous job was ranked number 18.
Yeah. What's number one?
Well, I'm just looking at just pop up there. This is not necessarily
Alright.
It's like a quick Google search, like the one on top.
Okay.
Yeah.
So our doctor is here. I don't know if he's ready for us. Dr. Baldwin, give me a thumbs up if you're ready for us. Can you hear me? Perfect. All right. So, so you're ready. You're a little bit early, so we'll get you on. There are a couple of topics that we have to discuss. Not discuss. Dr. Balmier. Good morning, sir. We can't hear you. Can you hear us? No, we can't hear you. There you go. We can hear you. We can hear you.
Now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yes. Hi.
How you doing, Dr. Bob?
I'm okay. Thanks for asking.
Excellent. I am Roger Daly. I'm the host of the show. Our two hosts are not here. One is out. Andre is tripping in. You saw this is Andre. I know you spoke to him.
Sophia.
I spoke to Sophia. Okay. All right. So looking forward, Dr. Capron was on last week. I don't know if you know who he is. He's the oncology doctor over there at Mount Sinai as well.
Okay. What was the name?
Dr. Camtron. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Arvinda.
Yes.
Arvinda Camtron.
He might be from the Mount Sinai in the city.
No, Brooklyn. He's Brooklyn.
Brooklyn? Okay.
Dr. Arvin Campton.
He must be at a different site. I know there's a site in Cadman Plaza. Maybe he's at that site.
It's Kamthan.
Yeah, he's not at the Brooklyn site. Not my hospital anyway.
Okay, all right. So tell us your name. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Let's get it. Yeah.
My name is Serge Balmier. I've been a nephrologist for over 18 years. I primarily work out of Mount Sinai, Brooklyn. My focus is mostly acute kidney failure and dialysis. Most of my patients tend to be older patients, but unfortunately, I do have some younger patients who do have some kidney disease. I enjoy practicing in Brooklyn. I was raised in Brooklyn for a few years before moving out to Long Island, so I find Brooklyn to be a second home for me.
All right.
We're in Long
Island. Cedarhurst, the Five Towns area.
Man, you don't tell anybody that. You still live in Queens. I met a guy named Lionel Balmier. Any relation? Are you from Trinidad?
I don't know the name, but usually when my late father, I would ask him all the time. People who had the last name, he'd always say they're almost always related at some level, just because the Balmier name is very specific.
Yeah, it's spelled the exact same way. That's why I asked you if you know who he is. I wanted to ask that when your name popped up on my feed to talk to you. So I mean, this is great. Where are you from? Were you born here in the United States?
And I was born in Haiti. I left at 11 months old. So
Okay.
I really don't know the country very well, but I've traveled back once since I left. That was many years ago when the country was very different.
Yeah. Well, now, what was it? One of the baby docs. Was it baby doc or Papa doc?
Baby Doc was still in power at the time. I think it was this was 01.
Okay. So, okay. You know, I have a lot of questions. I have a political question before I even get to the nephrology question. I have a political question. Never mind. You don't want. I don't know if you want to answer that. So never mind. Let's get straight to it. Get straight to some of the conversation. You've been practicing for 18 years. First of all, when did you go to school? Did you hear me?
I didn't see what was the last thing you said. I'm sorry.
So where did you go to school?
I went to a school in Long Island called New York College of Osteopathic Medicine. I graduated back in 2000.
Okay. No, undergrad, I was asking.
Oh, undergrad. St. John's University.
In Queens?
In Queens.
All right, perfect. You know, so you stayed in the area, you focused on the area, you went out to LI. I do know that college. I thought about being a doctor around the same time you were being a doctor. And then
yeah, it's a great school. It's actually come a long way. Now they have dorms, so it's no longer just the commuter school that I knew when I was there.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your role. Go back. Tell us a little bit about the function of the kidney and why did you choose to focus there?
So the kidneys, like any organ, they're very important, but you realize how important they are when they actually start to go bad. The role of the kidney is it maintains basically the body in a certain state. It allows you to take things in, and it gets rid of the things that you don't need in your body. It manages your level of hydration, it manages blood pressure, electrolytes in the body. And so when the kidneys go bad, a lot of these things are very apparent in the very beginning. People who have kidney problems suddenly develop high blood pressure. They can have swelling in their legs. They fill up with water. They don't feel well. Your body becomes out of balance when the kidneys malfunction.
And how many kidneys do you have, and how many kidneys does everyone have?
Most people have two. There are some people that are born with one kidney. They never know it until they go for some testing for some other reason, and someone notices that they only have one kidney. Usually, most people know if they have one kidney or two kidneys, because usually if you only have one kidney, it's usually found at birth during the initial workup when a woman is pregnant.
I've heard that many people can live on one kidney.
Yes, people give away their kidneys all the time for transplant to someone in need, and you can live many, many years with one kidney.
Why is it better? Well, obviously, if you're born with two, it's better to have two. But why is it better to have two? I mean, if you can fully function on one, why do you need two?
Well, having two is just better. So two to take the strain of your daily requirements. So people who unfortunately may lose a kidney for a reason, or they give up a kidney, that one kidney that remains has to do all the work. So that kidney will get a little bit bigger, a little stronger to take up the slack of not having the second kidney. But you can easily live a long time with that one kidney, not even ever have any symptoms or problems for many, many years. But ideally, it's better to have two kidneys. It gives you some backup in case something happens, in case you get sick, in case you have trauma or an infection, that you have two kidneys helping to battle your body through the problem.
So tell us some things. As you can see, the questions are going to get a little tighter. Tell us some things that we can do to keep our kidneys functional.
General good health. So I always tell my patients, things that are good for the heart are also good for the kidneys. So watching what you put in your body, you really are what you eat. So people want to enjoy their lives. They want to be able to go out there and experience different things, different foods, different drinks. But you have to be mindful that what you're putting into yourself does have an effect over time. Some people are more susceptible to having problems with certain things that they do because of the underlying medical issues that they have. But simple rules, watching your salt intake. When someone tells you a low salt or low sodium diet, you have to know what that really means. you really have to have an idea of how much salt you're talking about. What does that look like on a teaspoon? Or people tell you how much, watch the sugar that you take in. You'd be surprised in a can of soda, technically you have more sugar in that can of soda than you should have all week. But people don't realize that. You don't see it when you're taking it in. Simple thing like exercising every day. It doesn't have to be anything strenuous where you're grabbing your chest and you can't breathe, but something moderate where your heart rate goes up and you actually feel that you're getting some exercise. To do that several times a week on a regular basis. Getting enough sleep is important. Not sleeping enough because it has been linked to having diseases, keeping your blood pressure up and just not feeling good overall. Making sure you follow up with your primary care doctor, just to have routine blood work, just so someone else is looking into your care and making sure you're not missing anything during your daily routine. But simple things, what you eat, exercise, getting enough sleep, and following up with a good doctor, the doctor that cares and wants to put some time into your health.
Out of curiosity, I'm just curious in a sense, like, I guess, what made you even want to get into this field of nephrology? Like, what was there, like a catalyst, some sort of experience that you had or something you witnessed that that you said, man, I want to do this?
Well, I did some of my training at Jacobi Hospitals where I did my residency and fellowship. As a resident there, people with kidney disease, they were the ones that the other doctors didn't want to deal with. They were the harder patients, always more complicated, requiring a lot more attention and care. And so for many people, that just wasn't something that they wanted to do every day. I saw it as a challenge, something I found interesting, and at the same time, just having some compassion because these people were suffering. Especially at the time, the treatments were somewhat limited depending on what kidney diseases you had. But just the challenge of trying to treat someone with so many complications just because one organ has failed. So that drove my passion into looking into that kind of care for people.
I giving some personal background, I have my BUN and my EGFR. One is 28, and one is 2 point something. I have pancreatic cancer, so that affected, and then the chemo affected my kidney. So I'm looking at 26%. Which, and that dialysis. I'm not at dialysis yet, which I don't even think I would take dialysis anyway. But if I'm at the dialysis stage, I'm in a bad place. With the chemo and everything else. But the question is, when I give you that information, what brings a person to dialysis? What are some indicators that your kidney? You mentioned some earlier, but wait, let's go back. I want to ask a question. Is it true that when you get a kidney transplant, there's an 80 to 90% chance that you can develop kidney cancer or whatever they call it, renal cancer, or some form of cancer?
Well, the medication itself suppresses your immune system. So the medications have side effects. So those unfortunately who may have cancer at the time of the transplant, that cancer can come up more quickly, even though you are screened before you get a kidney transplant, but things can happen in between. But the medications, they're toxic. They have many side effects. If you ever look up the side effect profile of any of these medications you take to retain a kidney, you would ask yourself, why would you take this? So the medications themselves have risks of causing cancers, especially things like bone marrow disorders, lymphomas, specific cancers that they can cause. I'm not aware if they're more likely to cause pancreatic cancer or other things like colon cancer.
I don't believe that it caused the pancreatic, because I think because of the cancer and the medication I was taking, it made my kidneys go bad.
That is possible because some of the medications to treat cancer, unfortunately, they do have side effects. Many of the medications, they're not necessarily tested in those who have advanced kidney disease, or sometimes they're given with caution that people have to be monitored more closely. But many times in an attempt to treat one disease, we do cause problems in other organs. At the same time, the benefit may outweigh the risk, especially in setting something like pancreatic cancer. You really want to be aggressive in the care and get as many treatments that are possible to try to slow that horrible disease down. And unfortunately, the kidneys can suffer. And the hope is that they don't suffer so much where someone needs dialysis.
was just gonna say kind of sound depressing, but I heard when you said the benefit outweighs the cost. But you know, taking medication, which has a side effect, so you're taking it for one thing, but it causes the hurt in another thing.
Yes.
And so I was gonna inquire, is there something else that you would suggest? I mean, I guess it's even hard to do so, but my mind is now thinking of like herbs and all. Or would you suggest anything of the sort, or not?
No, I'm very careful about making any recommendation of things that are not prescription or FDA approved. It doesn't mean that those things can't help, but many doctors are not taught these things in medical school. So I have a lot of patients that do take a lot of herbs and supplements and things from GNC and Vitamin Shop. And sometimes I've never heard of these names. If they have any sort of kidney disease, I tell them the best thing is probably not to take it, just because the data is not clear. I do go on websites like WebMD just to review what are the potential side effects. And there's always an issue where things are unknown, or they'll say, talk to your provider about this medication or this herb before starting it. But your provider doesn't know, because your provider is not necessarily a naturalist or following some of these homeopathic medications. So it's a lot of caution you have to do before you take some of these things.
Right.
Wait, I have a question, right? Why? Okay, so you are a medical doctor.
I think I understand the question you want to say, because I think I have the same why.
Right. Why do medical doctors in general feel that it's better to look at these FDA approved over the herbal medicine? Why is that so important?
Well,
I think the audience, you know why I'm asking? I'm gonna give you a background on why I'm asking that question. A lot of people believe, because I say to people all the time, what you believe outweighs what you know. Because you might know the facts and believe something different and do something different. And then the data of the facts will hold ground. In other words, I believe that I should take these herbs because I heard that they're good for me, but I believe that they're stronger. But I know that taking this medicine is very bad for me, right? It has a side effect. But then I go to the doctor and I say, take the medicine and leave the damn herb alone. You're like, no, I believe. So tell me more. Why do you believe that? Or do you know? Why do you know that doing the medical things are better than these herbs?
Before I wanted to just add too, even growing up, right? You know, the grandparents, they'll have an understanding of some of these things that, you know, sometimes they might help, sometimes they might not. But some of these traditional way of taking care of family is something that they've been doing for generations. So some work, some don't, but in connection to that.
I don't. It's not my belief that these things may not work, right, but it is not my experience or my training. So to tell someone that it's okay to take it, right, and assume that it's going not to cause any problems, I think that would be unprofessional. Yeah. Now, people tell me that they're going to take something no matter what, or they're interested in taking something. I say that's fine. I'll do some research. I'll look to see if it'll be at least not toxic, at least to the organ that I'm focused on. But for someone who has a kidney transplant or someone who has already poor kidney function, I'm very careful what I say that that's okay to take, especially outside of something that I'm trained to use, because some of these herbs and supplements, they do have effects on the body. They can interact with medications, and there are many medications out there that are not tested against these herbs or supplements. So you do take a risk combining herbs and supplements with medications that are prescribed to. Right. Someone has to monitor that, and the physicians are not necessarily trained to monitor the effects of these things outside of their training. There are many books to look things up, and a lot of times there's always a caution that if you have other health issues, check with your provider.
So I just want to before we continue, welcome our co-hostess, Dr. Joanne Bryan.
She couldn't resist.
Hi, good evening.
She heard that you were Haitian. That's why she came up.
Okay, no mind to him. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you.
Following along, there was a couple of questions that I needed him to ask, and he wasn't asking, or Andre wasn't asking. So, yes, I'm sorry.
We're going through the question, but we start off with the preliminaries. Let me just take some of the.
I'm excited that you're here.
Thank you.
Hold on, Dr. Bryant. But I just wanted to get you a couple of the audience questions, and then I need to get to your point. We have one, Andre.
All right, so before the one on the screen, which I think we answered in a sense about the benefit outweighing the cost at times. But this one right here, if someone has early stage kidney disease, can it be reversed without medication by eating healthy?
It depends what caused the kidney disease. If it's something like high blood pressure or diabetes, it's not reversible, but there are many medications to slow it down. But diet and exercise are always going to be number one. Watching what you put in your mouth, how you feel about yourself during the day, plenty of fluids, and some basic things still have to be there, regardless of the medications.
So I have a question for you. You keep saying eating healthy. We know what exercise is like. What type of foods would you consider eating healthy to help with the kidney?
Well, avoiding this, you want to avoid things like high blood pressure and diabetes. So avoiding large amounts of sugary type food, cookies, cakes, ice cream, large amounts of carbohydrates, lots of pasta, rice. A diet had to be better balanced, more fruits and vegetables, more fiber, higher protein content. Those things are more important in a daily diet. You can still have some sweets, some dessert from time to time, but if that's happening every day, all the time, it's going to catch up with most people. We all have someone in our families that have abused their bodies, smoking, drinking, eating what they want. They still live till they're 80 or 90 or 100 sometimes. You just don't know why that person is doing so well, living so long, even though they've done nothing right for themselves. But not everyone is like that. You can't predict who's going to be like that. So because you don't know, it's better just from the very beginning, maintain a good, healthy diet and lifestyle. Because I'm the last doctor that you want to see. No one comes to see me because just for a simple checkup. There's a problem. Someone noticed something. And many times when I see people, most of the things are not reversible. Most of the things are treatable. You can slow them down. People can still live a long life. But they'll always have to see a specialist like myself just to maintain.
Dr. Bright is going to read off some of the questions that we have on the screen. I just popped them up for her. And you want to ask a question first, Dr. Bright, or you want to?
Yes, I do, but I know that Felina had actually put this question a while ago. Is the medication suppresses the immune system? Why are used? I guess.
Why are they used?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Well, for something like a kidney transplant, the kidney's not yours. Someone gave it to you. It's coming from a different body. So your body is going to try to reject that organ. It doesn't want it. It realize that it's a foreign thing to you. So these medications are forcing the body to accept that organ and to allow you to use that organ effectively. Otherwise, that organ would be basically cause an infection, inflammation in the body, and your body would basically what they call reject it. And you'd have all the symptoms that come with the rejection. Unfortunately, these medications are toxic. So you have to follow the levels of these medications in the system. So many of these patients have routine blood work that they have to have every few months to make sure that the medication is not reaching levels that are going to cause a problem with the that they've received.
The next question, do you know anything about intravenous vitamin C?
No, I remember early in my training, vitamin C was a big thing, taking mega doses of vitamin C for good health. I think it does cause a lot of GI side effects at very high doses. Does it hurt at moderate doses? Probably not. It's not a bad thing to have vitamin C in your body. A lack of vitamin C can cause disease as well. But I'm not aware of any benefits of IV vitamin C.
Okay. I have a question. What are some telltale signs that your kidney is going bad? So, for example, I'm a parent, or I'm going to the gym, I'm doing everything, I'm so-called eating correctly, but then I realize, what are some key signs or warning signs that something's not right and I need to go and check out a doctor?
Unfortunately, kidney disease, when you start having symptoms related to kidney disease, it's pretty advanced. That's why
symptoms. What are the symptoms?
Nausea, vomiting, lack of appetite, sleeping often, confusion, swelling in the legs. Some people can experience chest pain with really advanced kidney disease, seizures, tremors. So these are significant findings that that can also mean other things, such as people who have significant weight loss. You can think of that they have an issue in the gastrointestinal tract, an ulcer or a cancer. So the blood work will tell you that something's wrong with the kidneys, but you have to look at other reasons as well. But usually people have those kind of symptoms. They'll get some basic blood work that'll show what the problem is, or have an idea tell the doctor which direction to look for to follow up on these symptoms or findings.
So why should I ask? Well, since I know I have kidney issues, and I found this out late. Tell us the stages, because I know people don't know, like, the stage. I think when your one is at 331 or 31, 32, you're like 3-1, 3A, 3B, the 40s and the 50s. Tell us functional kidney, and tell us the numbers that as they go down, what to look at, and what are some of the measures that people can do to slow down the process. Like you said, most times, like my doctors told me, Dr. Henry Paul, I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, down in downstate. Yes, I know. I know of him. Good doctor.
And, Dr. O is my nephrologist now. Dr. O out of Kingsbrook. I don't know if you know who he is.
No, I've heard of him. I think he's been around for many, many years.
Yeah. What I've learned is that
trained with him.
Yeah. What I've learned is that there are not a lot of nephrologists out there. And
No.
I've learned that. And you guys
It's a
are
hard
to
life.
find.
It's a hard life.
And it's kind of interesting because you're the second black. Right? You and Dr. Paul are the second two black persons that I know with nephrology. Tell us about the stages of kidney disease to the point where you get to dialysis.
So to keep it simple, there are 6 stages of kidney disease. 1, 2, 3, you don't feel anything. There's something that your doctor will find on blood work. Sometimes medications may need to be adjusted with stage 3, but not necessary. Most medications are okay.
What's the numbers too that go along with that? With the bun, well, the EEG. What is this one? It's the bun. The bun, the BUN is what you're looking at, right?
So I look at the EGFR and also the creatinine level. Creatinine level is it's a rough marker of kidney function, but it doesn't work as well with people who are very young or people who are very old. It's usually meant to follow those who have established kidney disease. So stage 1 GFR more than 90. If you're missing a kidney, you have a structural abnormality, you have a little bit of protein in your urine, you could be a stage 1. Stage 2 is about the same thing, but the kidney function is a little lower, 60s to 80s. And again, that can include you having some protein in the urine, which shouldn't be there. Stage 3 is where many people fall in. Stage 3 is 2 parts, 3A and 3B. 3A is more about 45 to 55 in the GFR, and 3B of 40 between 30 and 45 about for stage 3B. Stage 4, 15 to 29. Stage 5 is less than 15, and stage 6 you're on dialysis. So symptoms, most people could have symptoms at some people could have symptoms at stage 4. By stage 5, most people have symptoms, or there was definitely findings of advanced kidney disease. Stage 5, people should be on dialysis. Stage 6, you're on dialysis. Stage 4, the doctor should be talking to you about dialysis or considering dialysis in your near future, or at least have the conversation that it might be possible that you might need dialysis in your lifetime. So my goal, hopefully, is to catch people early. Stage 3 or lower, stage 3 or higher, 1, 2, 3, because those are the times you can revert, you can slow things down. There are medications to treat. There's a time to intervene. Stage 4, it's a lot harder. People can live a long time in stage 4. They just have to be very careful, follow up with their primary care doctor and their nephrologist regularly. But stage 4 is when you have to adjust medications many times because of the medication can be toxic to the kidney or have more side effects. So the goal is to try to keep people from advancing as much as you can. It's fortunately, in the last few years, there are a lot more medications that have come out to treat kidney disease or to slow its progression down, especially for those with diabetic kidney disease. And again, of course, these medications have their own side effects. So it is important that even when you start these medications, you need follow-up, including blood work, to make sure that these medications are not causing you any harm in the attempt to control the disease that you have. Some of those medications you may have seen commercials on, such as Kerendia or Farxiga or Jardiance, they're becoming very popular. And that's just because the studies have shown that these medications have shown significant help for those who have the kidney disease, but they do have their own toxicities.
Question for you: when should we have all these people listening on the air, right? Should you tell your PCP? Well, no. First question: is this disease hereditary, genetics? Is it? If my father had it, my mother had it, somebody had it, what's the likelihood? How do you start getting kidney disease? Things like
It
that?
can be. So some people have high blood pressure in their family. High blood pressure can be inherited. If you have if your family had if your mother, father both had diabetes, there's a higher risk that you can have diabetes as well. There are diseases of the kidney itself, like something called polycystic kidney disease, where people develop a numerous amount of cysts inside their kidneys, and it takes over their kidneys, and they end up on dialysis in their early 30s or 40s. That is passed along as a genetic type of disease. So it depends. Many times people just develop kidney disease just because they develop high blood pressure or diabetes in their lifetime, or they've had a poisoning, or they've had trauma or complications of a surgery. So there are many reasons people develop kidney disease. Hereditary is possible, but seems like most of the time it seems like from people's lifestyles more than anything else.
What about drinking a lot? How would that affect your kidney?
Alcohol doesn't directly affect the kidneys.
Okay.
But people who drink a lot of alcohol, sometimes they don't take care of themselves as well. Dehydration causes kidney issues. Having issues where you're having complications of alcoholism, where you go into withdrawal, end up in the hospital, that could put you at risk of having kidney failure or kidney problems. But alcoholics, sometimes they can develop liver disease. Having advanced liver disease requiring transplant, sometimes your kidney fail along with your liver. The kidneys may be fine once you get the liver transplant, the kidneys recover. But unless you get a liver transplant, sometimes your kidneys will not recover. So people will have dual organ failure, both kidney and liver.
So good question. My son, my 8-year-old son, holds his pee a lot. Right, he holds on to it for the turning. That sometimes I have to tell him to go pee, and he's 8. Should I be telling his mother, hey, because this question goes out for people with children to identify issues that might develop problems, right? What are some things that we need to look for in our kids that would help with the kidney issue? Because what the kidney also does is help to clean the body, right? So if you're holding your urine or you poop, number one or number two, it could be could it affect your kidney? Have there been any studies about that? So I need to.
It's just going to pediatric a little far outside my training, but most people can't. It's pretty hard to hold on to urine enough to cause yourself a problem. Most people, because it's usually a lot of pain required. Because at about 1 or 2 cups of urine in your bladder, you're going to have the sensation that you need to go. So at some point, you're not going to be able to hold it. If you can hold it beyond that, then you have some other issues. Sometimes diabetics don't have the sensation that they need to go. They have issues voiding or passing urine, and they can have a liter or more sitting in their bladder and not have any pain. It's actually a remarkable thing to see. But most people who don't have these types of diseases, that urge to urinate is pretty great. So holding on to your urine to a point that really can hurt your kidneys is extremely hard to do.
Okay. What are some other things you can do that would hurt your kidneys? I mean, you talk about like an exercise, like a diet, and I told you
dehydration.
So that you need to do. How much water should you be drinking per day?
I tell people to drink about a liter a day. Just simple liter a day. People say 8 cups. I just tell them a liter a day. About 2 Poland Spring bottles of water a day. I don't say just drink anything. I don't want people drinking soda or something like coffee, which actually makes you urinate more. Simple water for those that can. Some people are advised to restrict their water intake for other medical reasons. Avoiding certain medications, simple things over the counter, such as ibuprofen, Motrin, naproxen, naproxen, Advil, Aleve. These medications are great pain relievers, but for some people, especially people who take them very often, you can have irreversible kidney disease from these medications, especially if you combine them with there's some other high blood pressure medications, or even medications like I mentioned before, like the Farxiga or the Jardiance. You mix these over-the-counter pain medications, you can have kidney disease from these types of medications. Avoiding, what's another one? And some herbs and supplements have to be avoided as well. There was always a question on one of my medical boards. It comes up every year for the kidney boards. There was a dietary thing, Chinese herb, great for weight loss, but all the people who lost weight ended up with chronic kidney disease that was irreversible. So you have to be aware of some of the herbs that you're using, because some herbs, they may help the symptom that you're going for, but they can have effect on the kidneys. So it's always important to read up on what are the side effects and the benefits of anything you put into your body that's not prescribed.
What are some trends that you're noticing in the nephrology field? And by the way, what's the difference between nephrology and renal?
Same thing. People, it depends who's saying it, but the nephrology itself, it's anything that has to do with the kidney physiology, kidney diseases, the same thing that the kidney does for the body. And people usually just say renal. Renal is still kidney as well.
Okay, so what are some trends that you notice in the field?
Right now, it's about all these new medications that are coming out, trying to get people on board on these medications early in their care. So we're hoping a lot of the primary care doctors notice when people have simple things like protein in their urine, or they see the creatinine level, the EGFR dropping a bit, that they get on top of it and see if there's a need for them to refer to nephrology to start some of these medications. Since most people who have kidney disease tend to be diabetic or have high blood pressure, nephrologist is very well equipped to start some treatment to sort of slow the progression of their kidney disease. But the key is to find these problems early so that a conversation can happen with the patient. So to me, the biggest trend right now is these current medications that are available now, which weren't available a few years ago. So even now, many of these companies are sending the representatives to my office to push these new medications. So you just always have to do everything with some caution, because you have to be sure what you're giving to your patients makes sense. But these new medications are the hot topics right now.
Excellent. What's the complications that you have come across? What are some of the complications that you have come across? I know you said the signs, but what are some complications that people might come across having kidney diseases?
My biggest issue is getting people to believe they have kidney disease. Sometimes their doctors send them to see me. They don't feel anything, but the blood work shows that there's a problem. So convincing patients that something has to be done, their lifestyle has to change, and they have to be able to accept new medications into their care to maintain their health. Unfortunately, kidney disease is a silent thing. It's much like high blood pressure. You don't feel anything. And once you start to feel something, damage has been done. So it's important to follow up with a primary care doctor and ask simple questions. Hey, doc, how are my kidneys? How's my creatinine level? Do I have any protein in my urine? Simple questions like that will start a conversation.
You know how you list out some of the meds that people shouldn't be taking because of that side effect, what it can cause to the kidney, such as I believe you mentioned Tylenol. Tylenol is one of them. But then I also know like even some relatives, some of the women, when they go through the cramps and it's excruciating at times, that's something that they lean toward, like taking Tylenol or the pain meds. But I'm just thinking how you said benefit outweighs cost, but also imply about moderation. In a sense, taking some of these is helping, but that long-term effect also comes up. I guess in a sense, really like maybe suggestions in terms of the pain, what people would consider instead.
Well, I think it's important that if you do have pain, to try to find the underlying cause of pain. Many people have chronic pain, like chronic back pain, and that can be very difficult to treat. So it's important to try the more conservative options if possible. Stretching, exercise, physical therapy, massage therapy, even acupuncture. If that doesn't work, maybe moving to something like Tylenol, which tends to be a little bit more, it's not toxic to the kidney, just don't take it with any alcohol. And if that doesn't work, then maybe ask your doctor to refer to maybe a pain management for other options, such that there can be injections that can be given to certain sites of the body to relieve the pain. Ibuprofen, Motrin, the category of gloves, medication we call NSAIDs, they can be used, but you just have to have some caution when you use them. They shouldn't be used often. If they're used on a regular basis, that's when you can really start to have problems. And not just with the kidneys. These medications can give you ulcers, leading you to go to the hospital with upper gastrointestinal bleeding. You can have elevations in your blood pressure. They can cause you to have swelling. They can make you retain water. So these medications, even though they're sold over the counter, they can cause problems. So again, following up with your primary and being sure your primary is aware of what you're doing and coming up with a plan of care, I think is the best approach to people having chronic pain.
We have a couple minutes left, and I want to make sure that we get a couple of the. Tell us about what are you doing community-wise? Like, why is this like being on the show or other activities? I know we got you at a busy time. What is the ultimate goal for you as a doctor for the community and building it for a safer and healthier life?
For people to understand that kidney disease is out there, and hopefully that they have to see me less often. It's not always pleasant having to tell someone that they have to go on to dialysis. I hate that people have to get to that point. Unfortunately, I don't have the time to do primary care medicine as well to catch some of these people early. So I try to partner with the primary care doctors that I do know, that if I see them or happen to see them at an event, or they call me on the phone for another patient, I try to answer all their questions just about kidney disease, just so they know what's going on, what point they should start referring their patients, what they should be looking for in their patients as they treat them, just so that they don't have to send patients to me as often for advanced kidney disease. So the goal is really just educate the community.
I have a couple questions from some audience member that texted me as opposed to putting on the air, so I'm going to read one. One person said, I've lost much of my hearing. My doctor recently made a connection between diabetes and kidney disease. Liver is involved in processing fructose, so it too is compromised by overloading of starches and sugars. I guess she was making a comment to, I think, something that you said.
The diet aspect. And
but the hearing. So you said that the kidney disease is connected to hearing?
No, it's not connected to hearing. There is an inherited disease that people have who progress to kidney disease early in life that involves their hearing, but it's something that's hereditary. It's called Berger's disease, but I don't know if that's the case of what the person's referring to. But the kidney disease by itself is not directly related to your hearing.
One person wrote, kidney disease is well, apparently he knows more than you and I, but kidney disease is reversible. How true or false is that?
It depends what caused the kidney disease. So someone who comes in with severe dehydration can have acute kidney failure. Numbers very high, they don't feel well, they have other findings that go on with the kidney failure. You get to that person early, you hydrate them intravenously, and their kidneys can recover. Sometimes people involved in trauma, sometimes when your muscle gets crushed, you release an enzyme into the bloodstream that can clog the blood vessels of the kidney, and that can cause severe kidney damage, including putting people on dialysis. Sometimes hydrating that person aggressively and stopping that muscle injury, those people can sometimes recover. But chronic diseases like high blood pressure and diabetes, once they destroy your kidneys, it's usually not reversible. The hope is to slow the progress of that kidney disease down.
What about medications? Like what I was saying, like my chemo medication that has caused problems, are those reversible?
From chemo, you said?
Yeah.
Any other questions, sir?
So
he asked the medication, like the one he takes at chemo, and if it develops kidney diseases, is that reversible?
It depends on the medication you're receiving. A lot of the medications do have side effects where they can affect the kidney. Sometimes the oncologist may allow some change in the kidney function in the hopes of treating the underlying cancer. Sometimes when there is kidney failure from the chemo, they will stop the chemotherapy. And depending on the chemotherapy drug, they may reintroduce that same drug once the kidney function improves at a lower dose or a change in the regimen to avoid toxicity to the kidney. But if some of these drugs you wait too long, it's not reversible. But unfortunately for me, sometimes a lot of these chemotherapy drugs, they're all new. So there is a lot of data on them, but the experience with the drug is limited. I don't know if you're aware, on TV, there's all these commercials about these new medications coming out all the time to treat all these different diseases of the joints, cancers, lung cancer, breast cancer. All these things are new, but they're also going to be new to the kidney doctors as well, because these things are coming out well after my training. So always having to keep up, reading what other doctors have gone through, what the labeling says, is a big part of my practice.
So they definitely have to be.
So each drug is taken on an individual basis and reviewed when I discuss with patients.
All right. So this question here, it said, does the ketogenic diet affect the kidneys and how?
Does a ketogenic diet affect the kidney?
Yeah, and how? If so.
Ketogenic diet doesn't affect the kidney. Doesn't affect the kidney as long as the person doesn't have underlying kidney issues. Because sometimes the keto diet is heavy in protein. Because that's where you get a lot of. I think a lot of people get their protein sources and fat from like animal type proteins. So the heavy protein load is a stress on the kidney. So most people will be okay with it especially as long as they hydrate well. But if you have underlying kidney issues, sometimes high protein diets do put a stress on the kidney, and the kidneys have a harder time eliminating the byproducts of that protein. But keto diet by itself doesn't cause kidney issues.
I want you to go back and I guess explain that there's no limitation on the age, if there's any limitation on the age of developing kidney disease.
So there was during my training, it was always brought up that if you as you get older, the older people just generally develop kidney disease, and that's not necessarily the case. Although extremes of age, say someone turns 100, you can find some issues with the kidneys. If you look at the kidneys may be small, a little shrunken, but again, that's an extreme of age. But in general, as we get older, we should not just necessarily have kidney disease.
And what's the youngest patient you would say that maybe
some kids
you have? Oh, okay. That's okay.
Well, I don't see anyone less than 18 years old.
Okay.
In my practice.
So here's a final thought, and just your thought on this. A lot of medications cause kidney damage, and disparities in healthcare.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that last question.
I was saying a lot of medication cause kidney damage, and disparities in healthcare causes the Black and brown communities big disadvantages. I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
That a lot of medications cause kidney damage in the Black and brown community, you said?
Yeah, it causes disparities. So it causes damages, but then there are disparities in the healthcare when it comes to Black and brown communities.
I think some of the disparity just may be that people aren't aware of the help that they can get. Even if the treatments are available, you have to know to go get the care or to seek the care. Unfortunately, many people wait till they have symptoms. As I was saying before, having a primary care doctor that you see at least on a yearly basis, just to make sure everything's okay, that you are doing your usual screening tests, prostate, mammograms, colonoscopy, that you have some of these basic things done, even just checking to see if you are diabetic or if you have any new high blood pressure that wasn't diagnosed. These things come when you see a good primary care doctor or just any primary healthcare provider, such as nurse practitioner or someone to do a simple screening test. And so I think the disparity to me is that people just may not know that they have these services available. Even people who are uninsured, you can be seen at the city hospitals, but you have to make that first step.
Going to this question from JL James. Given some doctors have expressed concern that metformin can lead to kidney failure, isn't it best for patients to switch to insulin? So the question is on the screen. It's also on the screen. The question, so metformin has caused some issues. Should they switch to injection insulin instead?
So during my training, I have not come across that metformin itself causes kidney disease. It's been around for many years. But if you have kidney disease that's advanced, you cannot take metformin. You will risk side effects of metformin, specifically a very high acid buildup in the body. People, and the decision for insulin, it depends on how well your diabetes is controlled. There are many oral medications for diabetes, but they don't work for everyone. If your diabetes is very out of control and you have side effects of the diabetes, such as eye disease, problems with the nerves, problems with your eyes, sometimes it's probably better just to be on insulin to get tighter control of the diabetes because it's starting to ravage other parts of your body.
Yeah,
metformin has been out for many, many years, but there are other options besides metformin for those that don't want to go on metformin. Other options that are considered first-line drugs.
You know, I wish there are a couple other questions that's on the screen, but we're out of time, unfortunately. This has been a very interesting talk about kidney. I never made the connection between diabetes and the kidney, and now you've made that connection for me to check out with the doctors to make sure. Well, for me now it's too late for other people to talk to them about making sure.
It's not too late for you yet.
No, when I say late for me, I mean late than at the beginning. Like if I had this conversation 5 years ago, I would have known, hey, what's my EGFR? Something is like, as I'm having these different doctors on for health reasons, I'm now figuring out what could have been different for me 4.5 years ago. That's the point. Like when I went to the doctor 2020, he goes, you have stage 4 kidney failure or whatever that number is, right? And that was that. So this talk, I hope a lot of people, they've tuned in. I see the numbers were increasing, that they were listening, asking questions. So I would love to have you back on the show. I know that it was a scheduling concern to get you back on, but it was very exciting. And thank you for all of the information. And thank you so much for participating here on The Village, giving us some questions, some answers. I wish I could ask you the question, but maybe you could send us an answer. Is it recommended that you take metformin? If you take metformin, you need to be on B12. With the connection. I'm sorry, Janice. I don't know. Can you give a yes answer for that? Is it recommended you take metformin? You also need to take B12. Just a yes or no.
No, they're separate. They're just separate. They're just separate things. B12, anyone can take.
All right, got you. So thank you, doctor. How can people reach you? I know if there are ways that people can reach you because they have other renal nephrology type questions.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you said? Someone to reach me where?
Anywhere. So any contact for you if anybody have a question, want to visit you at your office to ask, get some answers. I know you're probably overloaded, but how would they reach you?
They can call me at my main practice, 718-338-2283.
Okay, and we've been talking to Dr. Sir.
Yes, I'm right next door to Mount Sinai Hospital, Brooklyn.
On King's Highway. Yes. All right, so we've been talking to Dr. Serge Balmer, DO. He is a nephrologist special connected to the kidney. Please feel free to reach out to him, his office at 718-338-2283. It's been a pleasure. So thank you, everyone, for joining us on the Village Radio Talk Show.
Thank you for your time.
We're dedicated to empowering the community. Thank you, Doctor. We're dedicated to empowering the community to live a healthy, safe, and financially capable life through education, which is what we're doing today. Where success is not just spoken, it is done. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you for sharing, listening, and viewing the Village Radio Talk Show. Subscribe to our channel if you have not done so already. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Doctor, you were right.
Thank you.
Peace out.
All right. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for
It was a pleasure.
us. Thank you.